On the surface, credit cards seem like convenient financial tools, offering rewards, building credit, and giving you instant access to what you want. But behind the swipe lies a deeper problem that quietly drains your money, damages your peace of mind, and traps millions of people in a never-ending cycle of debt. According to the Federal Reserve, total U.S. credit card debt soared past $1.2 trillion in 2024. The average American carries a balance of nearly $6,000, and more than half of credit card users carry that balance from month to month, paying steep interest on yesterday's purchases. And it's not just about money. 1 in 5 Americans say credit card debt causes daily anxiety or stress. It's even been cited as one of the leading causes of relationship conflicts and divorces. So why are so many of us stuck in this trap? In this video, we're breaking down the hidden truths about credit cards, exposing the illusion of free money and the psychological toll of debt. From high interest rates to the myth of building credit, it's time to look at the real cost of using plastic. Stick around to learn why avoiding credit cards might just be one of the smartest financial moves you can make. Number 1. The illusion of free money. Why does spending with a credit card feel so easy? It's almost like you're not spending real money at all. That's a trap. When you swipe a credit card, you're not handing over cash, you're not watching your bank balance drop, and there's no immediate pain of payment. And that creates a dangerous illusion, like what you're buying is free, or at least harmless. But behind that smooth swipe lies a hidden cost that adds up fast. Think about it. You walk into a store planning to buy one thing. You leave with 5. Why? Because your credit card makes it feel like you have more money than you actually do. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine you're at a clothing store. You see a jacket for $120. If you had to pay with cash, you might hesitate. You'd feel that loss immediately. But with a credit card? Tap, and it's yours. No emotional sting, no second thought. That moment of free quickly turns into something else when the bill arrives. And if you don't pay it off right away, you're not just paying $120, you're paying interest on top of that. Every single month. That jacket can easily end up costing $140 or even $160 by the time it's paid off. Credit cards are designed this way, to make you feel good now and deal with the consequences later. People disconnect the act of buying from the reality of paying. And it's not just big purchases. Even small, everyday things add up. Coffee runs, food delivery, late-night Amazon orders. When you don't feel the money leaving your wallet, it's easy to ignore how fast it's stacking up. So what seems like a harmless tool for convenience can quietly push you into overspending, debt, and financial stress. Credit cards don't give you free money. They give you borrowed money, with strings attached. And those strings? They're designed to keep you tied down for years. Number 2. High interest rates. Imagine borrowing $100 and being told you'll owe $120 just a few months later, even if you didn't buy anything else. That's exactly how credit card interest works. Most people don't realize it, but credit cards come with some of the highest interest rates in the financial world. We're talking 15%, 20%, even 30% in some cases. Compare that to a mortgage or a student loan, which might be around 4% to 7%, and the difference is massive. Here's the problem. Credit cards make it easy to delay payment. You're only required to pay a small minimum amount each month. But the rest? That gets hit with interest immediately. And interest on a credit card doesn't just sit there. It compounds. Let's say you owe $2,000 and your interest rate is 24%. If you only make the minimum payment each month, you could end up paying double the original amount over time. That $2,000 turns into $4,000, and it could take you over 10 years to pay it off. 10 years for a balance you might have run up in a few weeks. It gets worse. Interest doesn't just apply to large purchases. Even that $8 lunch you charged can cost you $10, $12, or more if you don't pay off your full balance. You're literally paying more money for the same items, just because you didn't pay on time. Credit card companies don't just make money from swipe fees or annual fees. Their biggest profits come from interest payments, from people like you trying to catch up. They count on people not paying in full. It's their business model. And the more you owe, the harder it gets to dig yourself out. You're not just paying for your purchases anymore. You're paying for the privilege of being in debt. Number 3. Minimum payments is equal to long-term debt. You just looked at your credit card bill and thought, no problem, I'll just pay the minimum this month. That one thought is how millions of people end up stuck in debt for years. Credit card companies love minimum payments. Why? It keeps you on the hook, paying interest month after month while barely touching the actual balance. It's like scooping water out of a sinking boat with a spoon. Most people don't realize this. They see that low minimum and think they're doing okay. But the truth is, most of that payment goes toward interest, not the actual debt. It's a slow drip that drains your finances over time. Ask yourself this: would you sign up for a loan that takes 2 decades to pay off, just to cover a few shopping trips and dinners? Probably not. But that's exactly what minimum payments do. Credit cards are designed to make debt look easy. The bills are structured to encourage the smallest payments possible. And while that might relieve short-term pressure, it creates a long-term trap. It's not just about the money. Carrying debt for years affects your ability to save, invest, or even qualify for other loans. It limits your financial future, all because you chose convenience in the moment. Number 4. Credit card fees you don't notice. Ever feel like your money just disappears, even when you're being careful? Chances are, your credit card has something to do with it. Credit cards are full of sneaky fees that most people don't even notice until it's too late. These fees don't show up with flashing red lights. They slip in quietly, buried in the fine print or disguised as standard charges. Let's start with the annual fee. Some cards charge you $95 or even more just for the privilege of having the card. You don't get anything in return unless you use the card a lot. And even then, the rewards usually don't make up for the fee. Then there are late payment fees. Miss the due date by even 1 day? That could cost you up to $40. And it gets worse. One late payment can trigger a penalty APR, which is a much higher interest rate, sometimes over 29%. That rate can stick around for months, or even permanently. Ever used your card abroad? That's another fee. Foreign transaction fees, usually around 3% of every purchase. So if you spend $1,000 on a trip, that's $30 gone, just for using your card. And don't forget balance transfer fees. Moving your debt to a lower interest card might sound like a smart move, but many cards charge 3% to 5% to make the switch. That's $150 on a $3,000 balance. Need cash in an emergency? A credit card cash advance might sound helpful until you realize you're charged interest from day one, plus a cash advance fee on top. There's no grace period. And the interest rate? Usually higher than your normal purchase rate. Now ask yourself, how many of these fees have I paid without realizing it? That's the point. Credit card companies don't want you to notice. They rely on small, frequent charges that quietly drain your bank account. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And the worst part? Most of these fees are avoidable if you don't use a credit card in the first place. Number 5. Debt accumulation and the snowball effect. It usually starts with just one purchase. It could be a new phone. Maybe it's dinner out with friends. You tell yourself, I'll pay it off next month. But next month comes, and there's rent, groceries, gas, and now you're only paying the minimum. Before you know it, you're carrying a balance. Then an emergency pops up, a car repair, or a medical bill. So you swipe again, and again. Suddenly, what started as a $200 balance becomes $2,000. And it doesn't stop there. This is how debt snowballs, slow at first, then faster and heavier with every swipe. Let's be real. Credit cards make it too easy to spend money you don't have. There's no emotional pain, no physical cash leaving your hand. Just a quick tap or swipe, and boom, it's done. But what happens when those small balances from multiple cards pile up? You now owe thousands across multiple accounts, all charging interest, all demanding monthly payments. And once you start paying one card with another, you're not just in debt, you're trapped in a cycle. The stress starts to creep in. You avoid checking your statements. You ignore the growing total. And suddenly, your paycheck is mainly going toward debt, leaving very little for anything else. This is the snowball effect. A few small decisions that slowly roll into a massive financial burden. Ask yourself, how many people do you know who are truly debt-free? Not many, right? That's because the system is designed to keep you owing, to make you believe debt is normal, that carrying a balance is just part of life, but it doesn't have to be. Number 6. Negative impact on mental health. Have you ever stayed up at night, staring at the ceiling, thinking about money? Millions of people carry credit card debt, but what they don't often talk about is how heavy that debt feels. Not just in the wallet, but in the mind. It's more than just numbers. It's stress. It's guilt. It's anxiety. Imagine checking your account and seeing a growing balance month after month. You feel like you're trying your best, but the debt keeps growing. That pressure can turn into daily worry about how to make payments, about falling behind, about not being able to breathe financially. Studies show that 1 in 5 Americans say credit card debt causes stress or anxiety in their daily life. And that's just the people who admit it. Debt can cause mood swings. It can affect your focus. It can even impact your relationships. Couples argue over money more than almost anything else. And credit card debt is a big part of that. It leads to blame, secrecy, and sometimes even divorce. Think about how debt affects your choices. Maybe you don't go out with friends. You skip holidays. You feel ashamed. Over time, that shame can turn into depression, a constant feeling of being behind in life. And the worst part? Credit cards don't warn you about this when you sign up. They show you the perks, the rewards, the convenience, but they never show you the emotional cost. Number 7. Impulse spending and consumerism. You didn't plan to buy that extra pair of shoes, or that smart gadget, or that third scented candle, but your credit card made it so easy, you didn't even feel the money leave your hands. That's exactly how credit cards encourage impulse spending. When you use cash, you physically see it disappear. You count it. You feel the weight of every dollar. But with a credit card, it's just a swipe, a number on a screen. It doesn't feel real until the bill shows up weeks later, and by then, the excitement from the purchase is long gone. Credit cards separate the act of buying from the pain of paying, and that's dangerous. Now combine that with non-stop advertising, flash sales, limited time offers, and social media influencers showing off their latest must-haves. It creates the perfect storm. We're being trained to believe that happiness comes from stuff, that buying more equals living better. But here's the truth. Most impulse buys don't bring real satisfaction. You get a temporary high, then regret sets in. The package arrives, you open it, and 5 minutes later, it's just more clutter. Have you ever bought something just because it was on sale, even if you didn't need it? Or told yourself, I'll just put it on the card and worry about it later? That mindset leads straight into a trap. One purchase becomes 2, 2 becomes 10, and before you know it, you've added hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars in debt, just chasing a feeling. Credit cards don't just enable consumerism, they fuel it. They make it feel normal, even necessary. Number 8. Damage to your credit score. You miss one payment, just one, and suddenly, your score drops like a rock. But here's the part most people don't realize. Using a credit card the wrong way can hurt your credit even if you never miss a payment. Sounds confusing, right? Let's break it down. Your credit score is made up of a few key factors. And one of the biggest? Credit utilization, basically, how much of your credit limit you're using. If you're carrying a balance that's even just 30% of your limit, lenders start seeing you as a risk. That's right. Even if you always pay on time, your score could still suffer. Now, imagine someone with a $5,000 limit who regularly carries a $2,000 balance. They're under that limit, so it seems fine. But to credit bureaus, it's not. And it gets worse. Every time you apply for a new card, your score can take a hit. Every time you forget a due date, that's a red flag. And if you close a card you've had for years, it can drop your average account age, lowering your score. It's like walking on a tightrope. One misstep, and boom, your score dips. And that number follows you everywhere. Need a car loan? The bank checks your score. Want to rent an apartment? Your landlord might check it. In some cases, even job applications look at it. One small mistake with your credit card can snowball into big problems for years. And here's the kicker. Fixing your credit is slow. It can take months or even years to recover from just a few bad moves. Sometimes, the best way to protect your credit score isn't by using credit cards the right way. It's by avoiding the trap altogether. Number 9. Rewards aren't worth the risk. Get cash back. Earn miles. Unlock exclusive perks. Sounds tempting, right? Credit card companies know exactly how to lure you in. They wave shiny rewards in front of you like a carrot on a stick. But have you ever stopped to ask, at what cost? Let's do the math. Most reward cards offer 1% to 2% cashback. So if you spend $1,000, you might get $10 to $20 back. Not bad, until you carry a balance. Suddenly, that free $10 reward is costing you 20% interest. That's $200 in interest on a $1,000 balance over time, just to earn a tiny reward. Makes no sense, right? And here's the sneaky part. These reward systems are designed to get you to spend more. The more you swipe, the more points you earn. But the more you spend, the more likely you are to carry a balance, miss a payment, or fall into debt. That's exactly what the banks want. Think about it. Would these massive companies offer rewards if they were losing money on them? Of course not. The truth is, most people end up paying far more in interest and fees than they ever get back in perks. And those airline miles you're stacking up? They're often hard to redeem. Blackout dates, limited seats, expiration rules. People spend thousands trying to chase free flights and sometimes never even get to use them. Ever bought something just to reach a spending threshold for a bonus? That's not a reward. That's a trap. The entire system is built to encourage overspending while making you feel like you're being smart with your money. Real financial freedom doesn't come from collecting points. It comes from staying debt-free, living below your means, and not letting a credit card trick you into buying things you wouldn't pay cash for. Number 10. False sense of financial security. Credit cards give you the illusion of having more money than you actually do. Swipe, and suddenly, you're buying things you couldn't afford if you were paying cash. It's like you're walking around with a financial safety net. But here's the catch. That net isn't real. Let me ask you this. Have you ever used a credit card to cover a bill or make a purchase thinking, I'll just pay it off later? It feels safe, doesn't it? But that sense of financial security is a mirage. What's actually happening is that you're postponing the reality of paying for that purchase. Eventually, the bill catches up, and suddenly, that safety net turns into a burden. Credit cards create a bubble. The more you use them, the more you feel like you have extra money to spend. You think you're living within your means, but you're actually living beyond them. Every swipe builds up a future debt that could easily spiral out of control. And let's be real. Life happens. Unexpected bills, medical emergencies, car repairs. If you've been relying on credit cards for security, those moments become more stressful. The safety net you thought you had can quickly turn into a financial pitfall. When you buy on credit, you're not building actual savings or wealth. You're simply deferring the payment. And the more you defer, the more the debt grows. That's not security. That's a ticking time bomb. What happens when your credit card limit gets maxed out? Or when you can't make the minimum payments? The financial security you once had is shattered, and you're left scrambling to stay afloat. The reality is that the true path to financial security isn't through borrowing. It's through saving. It's about building an emergency fund, living within your means, and not relying on credit cards to patch things up. Breaking free from the debt culture isn't easy, but it's the first step toward achieving true financial freedom. It's about making conscious decisions, focusing on what really matters, and taking control of your financial journey. You don't need to rely on credit cards to keep up with the trends or impress others. If this video helped you rethink the way you approach credit and debt, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Blackboard Finance for more tips and strategies to manage your finances better. Don't forget to hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an update from us. Remember, your financial future is in your hands. Take control of it today.